Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to come before you for maybe, let me stop lying. I keep saying a half an hour, but give or take, probably more give than take. But anyway, the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. I will not be sharing the link today as I am by myself, but I'd love to hear you all's comments and opinions on the conversation that we're going to be having. Hey, Volvo, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Simo, what's going on with you? So today we're going to be talking about America maybe using the same old playbook on the Captain Ibrahim Traorè, who is also the interim president of Burkina Faso, as it did other leaders. Now, of course, we really know the answer to that, but I have to phrase it just a little bit differently for the sake of conversation. Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says always a treat to hear me, even though I still sound, which is why, I've been kind of like trying to rest my voice because y'all know I've been suffering with the flu last week and laryngitis had it there, maybe just getting old, Delano, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. PD, Brother Perry, hope you're doing well. So we're going to have a pretty interesting conversation here. I'm sure by now you guys have seen a lot about what's been going on over Burkina Faso on the continent of Africa. It's a whole lot going on. I can't explain it all, and I'm probably really even talking over my head. As you guys know, I'm also on African Diaspora News Channel, and there's a lot of other contributors who are from the continent, and this is really their lane. But of course, I've been following it. I know a lot of y'all. Hey, Brother Don, I hope you're doing well, and thank you to all my moderators. Love and appreciate you. I don't need no man. Stop telling me I do. How you doing? But this is kind of, like been all over, unless you haven't been paying attention, right? Now, I have been having conversations with people, and they say, no, I didn't know anything about it. It's like, where you been? So anyway, let's give everybody else a moment to come on here. I'm also going to show y'all a video and try to tie all of this together as best I can. As you guys can see on the thumbnail, I have Ibrahim Traorè and Marcus Garvey and Muammar Gaddafi. And of course, there's a whole lot of other people that we could talk about in organizations in between there, but we'd be here forever, right? Talking about the United States government and other governments in the West, I guess you could say, Great Britain and all that. They're key players in a lot of this too. Facts Not Feelings says, I saw this coming months ago. Traorè is the embodiment of Thomas Sankofa. Okay. No, absolutely. There's a lot of people who are excited. Ernest, how you doing? So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. And then of course we can fill in the blanks for everybody else who decides to come on. Brother Abdul, how you doing? Says, I have nothing else to say. The clock is ticking. Okay. Got you. I don't know what clock you're talking about, but I'm with it. Okay. So let's get into it. So Captain Ibrahim Traorè is a military officer and now the interim president of Burkina Faso. Now he seized power from President Paul Henry Sandaogo, and I'm probably jacking these names up, Damimba in 2022 due to people becoming dissatisfied with the job that he was doing. Now, specifically, it seems as though he was having a hard time keeping bad actors out. So it sounds like there was some jihad activity going on there. There's a lot of people who, obviously immigrated there and not doing what they should be doing there, right? So, and he was actually the second military coup. There was a president before that, and then they put that president, Paul Henry, in, and he wasn't doing the job, so they ousted him. Okay. So now Burkina Faso is in the west of Africa, and I'm gonna give y'all a little history lesson because I'm still learning too. So it's near Mali and Niger, and now they've also sound like they're taking the lead from Burkina Faso and kicking out the West France specifically. It's also located near Togo, Ghana, and the Ivory Coast. Sounds like the Ivory Coast might be in on, trying to do in Ibrahim Traorè. Also, Burkina Faso is considered to be one of the least developed countries in the world. However, it is rich in gold, manganese, copper, and limestone. Now, it is considered to be, again, a poor country, but France has been colonizing it since I think it was like 1896 or something like that, up until recently, at the end of 2023, when Ibrahim Traorè and his forces said, hey, y'all got to go. Y'all got to go. Get your military, get everybody. You got to go. You're not going to be benefiting from us anymore, because y'all know how they do. They get in and they colonize and they take over and they extract the resources for their own good, leaving the country and the indigenous people there poor and not having anything. In fact, a lot of the roads were not paved, but Ibrahim Traorè is going about paving the roads. Sounds like he's giving free education, just a whole lot of things. To me, when I listen to the story of what's going on in Burkina Faso, it reminds me of Cuba, when Bautista was ousted by that of Fidel Castro and Che Guevara, right? Che Guevara made it more of a communist, where it was more socialism, where they were spreading the wealth, right? It wasn't just the top wealthiest people eating and everybody else was suffering. So that's kind of what it reminds me of. But nevertheless, let's see here. Now, it should be said that Ibrahim Traorè has survived about 19 assassination attempts and counting. Also heard that about $5 million, again, I don't quote me, but $5 million was offered to some of the closest people around him to help take him out, but they wouldn't do it, right? So there's a lot of people, especially France, who sounds like their economy is now suffering, because they're like, yo, we were eating pretty greedy there, and now we can't, right? So again, he survived a lot of assassination attempts. Now, of course, there's been a lot of conversation coming out of Washington, okay? And I'm going to show y'all the video that got a lot of people's antennas sticking up like, wait a minute, now what? What are we doing here? So check this out and then come on back. Or don't go nowhere, we'll just watch this.
So in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that in order to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. You know, I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traorè and Burkina Faso, you know.
Okay, so that is General Michael Langley, and he was having a conversation there. I'm going to remove him. Let me remove him. Actually, I'm going to play it again because I know it was kind of quick. A lot of people are probably saying, what? So I'm going to play it again so y'all can hear it, and then we'll go.
Situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that in order to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. You know, I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traorè and Burkina Faso, you know.
Okay, so y'all heard it twice. Let me go ahead and remove him. So he's basically saying, I'm going to get to every last one of y'all comments. Just give me a moment. So he was basically saying, yeah, Ibrahim Traorè and, you know, Burkina Faso, he being General Michael Langley, the brother, right? He is saying, oh, I don't mind saying it. In fact, he was almost trying to cut the guy off to go ahead and jump in there, which kind of made my antennas go up like, okay, was this scripted? Like, what are y'all doing here, right? Oh, I don't mind saying it. Ibrahim Traorè and Burkina Faso. So basically, he's saying that Ibrahim is enriching himself because he's the ruling elite, and there's some corruption, and he's that's corruption and there's bribery, and basically he's eating greedy now that he has ousted the president and he's ousted France and whoever else might have been over there. So when a lot of people heard that, they're like, wait a minute now, huh? And why all of a sudden are you guys concerned about what's going over there at Burkina Faso? Y'all weren't really, y'all being the United States and anybody else, y'all weren't really concerned until the president got ousted for sounding like not really doing his job, right? Okay. So from that point on April 30th, there was this mass protest all over Africa, all over in Great Britain, some places even here, from what I understand, New York. You know, a lot of Black people all over the world is like, Hands off. We're not falling for this again. Now, what exactly is this? Okay. Now, of course, I want to take you back to Marcus Garvey. Y'all remember Marcus Garvey, even though you wasn't there, but we've heard a lot about him, right? With the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association, where he was telling Black people all over the diaspora, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. He was building, he was teaching, he was getting Black people geared to doing for self and all of that. Now, it is said, now remember, there was no phones, no social media, it wasn't even TV then, right? That he got about 3 to 6 million Black people worldwide on board right now. Ultimately, we were supposed to be going back to Liberia. That didn't happen. Obviously, a lot of us are still here. Now, I should also say that Marcus Garvey was not what they call Black American. He's Jamaican. But so once that was all going, I mean, he had steamships, factories, you name it, right? A printing press. It was just a lot of greatness going on for Black people. And I remember that wasn't too long after slavery, right? In the early 1900s. Well, of course, we know what the United States government did now was the FBI. Before it was called the FBI. They used the first, what they're saying, African-American FBI agent by the name of Agent 800. His name was James Wormley Jones. And he was sent to infiltrate UNIA to try to find some dirt on Marcus Garvey so that they can, thwart his efforts and, paint him out to be this bad leader. Sounds like a lot of people in the NAACP didn't really like him because, of course, he's off message now, right? He's basically saying, yeah, y'all don't need the establishment. Yeah, we need each other. So basically, Agent 800 got in there and, they found mail fraud. Basically, what happened was, from what I understand, there was a postcard or something like that sent out with a ship, a picture of a ship that UNIA did not own yet. So the government was like, that's, mail fraud because you're trying to trick investors and say that you own this ship and you didn't. So he was in prison and he was sent back. And you guys know the rest is history, right? So the point that I'm making is with that, they typically use one of us to get to us for at the behest, if you will, of white supremacy. Okay. Now, of course, we know all about the Black Panther Party and, the Nation of Islam and a whole bunch of other Black groups that were up, you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, do for self. And, really we're helping Black people. We know what the FBI did, especially under J. Edgar Hoover. They destabilize these groups. Now let's go to Libya. Of course, we know what happened with Muammar Gaddafi, 2011, I believe it was. The Obama administration, along with NATO, deemed him to be a threat, right? Now there was a Libyan civil war going on, and they were citing things like, unemployment is high, he's inhumane, and things like that. So of course, they took him out. Now, a lot of times when you hear about Muammar Gaddafi being taken out, and you guys know what I mean by that, you never really hear the grueling details of what they did to him. But let's just say they did something unfathomable with a bayonet to him. Okay, y'all use your imagination. Y'all could Google it, and it'll tell you all the things that they did to him. Of course, Libya has been destabilized, and it is still destabilized as full-fledged slavery by the Arabs. Sex trafficking, human trafficking, you name it. It's just a nightmare right now. Of course, we know that Gaddafi originally was telling the diaspora, hey, let's unify, let's use gold and move away from the dollar. Of course, we also heard the copious amount of stories that he was trying to give Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I should say, and the Nation of Islam $1 billion, but the United States government would not allow that to happen. So with that, they use President Barack Obama to spearhead that. You guys all saw them in the war room and things like that. Hillary was there, which is one of the reasons why Hillary Clinton is called a very evil woman. She had an interview where she says, we came, we saw, he died, and laughed about it, right? So she was talking about Muammar Gaddafi. Of course, again, this is really all before the internet and social media and things like that. Is the way it is now. So this propaganda went forward, and a lot of people thought, Muammar Gaddafi was just bad dude and he had to go. Well, of course, we know that he was talking about unifying Black people, and they did not want that. Okay. So we've heard, like I said, a copious, and we could be here forever, copious amount of stories of them destabilizing Black organizations, whether they're abroad or whether they're here. Now, I say that they're trying to use the same playbook is because that's exactly what they're trying to do to Ibrahim Traorè. And I've been doing a little bit more reading. And of course, I'm seeing different news organizations trying to say, oh, he's not who he's saying he is. And people are being fooled by him. And it's like, why are people being fooled? Because he's actually doing for his people. So what it is now a lot of people are paying attention to it. And I think the West and a lot of people, you know, who are ruling the West, let's call it what it is, white supremacy, they're now afraid that Black people are really starting to wake up, because they're saying if you guys do something to him, it's going to be hell to pay, right? You guys better not lay a hand on him. But of course, we know it's the same old playbook. In my Kamala Harris words, it's the same old playbook that they're trying to use on Ibrahim Traorè, as they've done countless leaders here and abroad. Now, I know some people probably like, well, why should we as Black Americans care? Well, we should care, because we've watched them do that to people that we love and care about over here. And they have done it, obviously, copious amount of times over there. So at some point in time, we as Black people got to wake up and say, okay, enough is enough. So one of the, again, the reasons that they do it, especially over there in Africa, is it's always said that whoever controls Africa controls the world. So we know that Africa's got a lot of resources, and with that, it helps a lot of other countries' economy and things like that. Of course, Europe, a lot of European countries, they are in competition to see who can get more a stronghold in Africa, and a lot of Asian countries as well. Then, of course, over here, they get involved with the same old playbook, because their job is to stop Black unity by stopping a rise of a Black Messiah, amongst a whole host of other things. So let me get into the comment section. Thank you for bearing with me here. I just kind of wanted to, you know, give you guys some context as best I can. Again, this is a conversation is probably over my head, as I speak more on Black American issues than I do that, but we should be paying attention. All right, Mars, how you doing? Hope you're doing well this fine day. Okay, and I'll get to your comment because it cut off, Brother Abdul. Miss Sweet, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Facts Not Feeling says Traorè is the tip of the spear for BRICS in Africa. So you're talking about BRICS in regards to the countries coming together and, you know, moving away from the dollar. Is that the BRICS that you're talking about? Simo says fourth largest gold deposit on the continent. Absolutely. So how is it that it's considered to be one of the most underdeveloped countries in the world? But yet it's so rich in resources. Now, we've heard this story before. That's what they do. They, being the West and everybody else, they attach themselves to the continent and they extract all of the resources for their own, right? iPhones, what is it, the cobalt there in DRC, Congo, if you will, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. And unfortunately, the people of those particular countries do not benefit from their very own resources. So absolutely. And now, you know, of course, I'm sure the French is like, yeah, we need him out of there. Because, you know, obviously they'll put another person in there that's going to do the bidding of the West, bidding of white supremacy. And you would think, well, what does France have that anybody could use? Obviously not a whole lot of nothing, right? If they got to be digging all up in the continent. I don't know, just thinking. Ms. Sweet says free education and paved roads, amongst a whole lot of other things that Ibrahim Traorè is making sure the people are benefiting from. That's why I said it reminds me of Cuba. Of course, they tell the story about Fidel Castro and that he was a horrible person, but it was basically, he was like, you know, United States, you're not coming over here. And of course, that happened during the Bay of Pigs, the Cold War, during the John F. Kennedy administration, where they basically wanted to do whatever they wanted. And Fidel, of course, they were mad that the ousting of Batista happened. But Fidel was like, no, y'all not coming over here using it as a playground and do anything you want. So, of course, no embargo happened. You know, with the tariffs and a whole lot of other things were imposed upon Cuba, which is why if you ever go, and I've never gone, but I know people who've gone over there, you'll see that they have cars from like the 1950s and stuff, 60s that they're still driving because they weren't allowed to get, you know, imports, things like automobiles, because Fidel Castro just stood 10 toes down. It's like, I don't care. You guys aren't going to come over here and upset the apple cart over here. It's working just fine now for our Cubans, and we like it that way. Anyway, yeah, this was 19 and counting. So let's see. Uh, I see your comments, Emo. Let's see, Lashonda, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Miss Sweet says gratitude on the side, corruption and bribery. Yeah, so they're basically saying that Ibrahim Traorè he ousted the last president so he can enrich himself, right? It's all about me, me, me. But my thing is getting something on the side, because that's kind of where they were going. That is like, ain't that what they do over here in the United States? Don't a lot of leaders get stuff on the side? How is it that you go to Congress and you were, let's say, a bartender or whatever it is, and now you wealthy, and you get what, I don't know, they get what, $170,000 a year, give or take, something like that. How is it that you're now a millionaire? What else are you doing on the side? What white envelopes are you getting that you're now wealthy and all this other stuff? So it's like y'all meddling in other people's countries, telling them what they can and cannot do, but you ain't got no smoke for the politicians over here, getting a little, they little palms greased, no smoke for them. So we have to pay attention. I mean, and I don't know everything, but is it possible that the West is saying, hey, United States, we need y'all help? We need this narrative formed on this guy here, because obviously the other presidents before him, and he's not even really trying to stay the president. He's just there until they get one, right? But the other presidents, they just let France run roughshod and do whatever they want. So what's really going on, right? All right, so let's see here. Brother Don says he couldn't wait to get that lie out. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to cut the dude off. I don't mind saying it. It's like, oh, wait, hold on. I got something for y'all. I don't mind saying it. I'll go ahead and say it right now. It's Ibrahim Traorè and Burkina Faso. Man, I know you got the script, but he's supposed to speak. And then on the script, it says, okay, now you speak. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Multifaceted me, how you doing? Says, did you guys see the report of the protest by African on, he says 5:30 at Trump Tower? Says about Traorè, they are standing in support. Says, yeah, they are trying to send him out, or take him out rather. 30 attempts so far. So 30 attempts, that's news to me. But yeah, that was a couple of days ago. So you're talking about April 30th. Yes, it was pretty much worldwide. People took in March everywhere. I was like, we ain't falling for this time. We know how you get down. So yeah. Mad Dog, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Miss Sweet says, wow, our government is pure evil and wicked. You think? Brother Don says, when he trusted the French, that's when they deleted him. Oh, yeah. You talking about Muammar Gaddafi? Yeah, and then Farrakhan talks about it as well, that he was sent to warn Muammar Gaddafi, don't trust the West. Don't do it. It's not going to end up good, right? And, unfortunately, here we are. Mara says, when I found out about him and why and stuff, he says, I was pissed off that they offed him. Yeah, but again, a lot of times they use one of us to do us. I mean, I almost think about almost every or Black organization, it was mostly one of us to do it. Fred Hampton, it was one of us, that they use to go up in there and pretend, right? So that they can help the FBI and white supremacy to keep down our Black unity. But it must be something about that Black unity that they don't like. I wonder what it is, Miss Sweet says the truth won't set you free, it will make you mad. You ain't lying. Hero, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. You also say, Miss Sweet, same old playbook. This is crazy. Yeah, but it is, right? Brother Don says, I have a list of 69 accomplishments he and his government completed. Yeah, we'd be here forever, right? But you're absolutely right. There's so many. So it's like, in the short time that he's been there, since 2022, right? Why is he getting all those things done? Because the presidents before, you would almost think that, it must be impossible. It must be impossible to get things done because nothing's getting done. But there he is, less than, 3 years, and he's getting all those things done. It's like, do tell what's really going on here. So, yeah. Marge says, yes, we should care. They are our people. We are all Black. The fight is for us, etc. Totally agree. Diane, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Negroes, what's going on with you? Sunlight, how are you? Mara says, yes, it's nice and bright here in DMV. It's kind of cloudy here. They said it might be a tornado watch going on. So yikes. Miss Sweet says, question, if who controls Africa controls the world, should we go back to Africa and rebuild? Well, that's always a very controversial conversation. Ideally, I would like to do that. I'm not tied to America, but I do want my money first. I want my reparations first. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would think so. Multifaceted Me says, I saw a video last night, a French imposter posing as a journalist that was caught, I guess, trying to take pictures of Traoré's military base and making calls back to the French handler, but they got him. Yeah, it's like, but you know, if they do something to him, do they think that people are just going to say, well, you got another one, guess we'll just have to just find something else to do? No, people are really going to be mad. This is not even 10 years ago where they take out Black leaders and we just say, and then we go about our business. It's a new day. So absolutely. Real people, how you doing? He says they got crepes. So that's what the French got. They got crepes. Negro says civilians are sleeping outside Traoré home to make sure he's okay. There you go. People are like, nah, hands off. Not on our watch. We're not going to stand by and watch you do that to him. So it's getting very interesting. I just can't say enough about it. Jamila, how you doing? Says me and my friends were just saying that. I said that I hope that he doesn't come here. Yeah, and it sounds like Trump was trying to have a conversation with him. He tried to summons him to the White House, and he was like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm good, you know. Mars says, oh my God, that's why these countries have old cars. Wow, I never knew that. Yeah. Selmo, how you doing? It says Guantanamo Bay. And do tell what do you mean by Guantanamo Bay? Yeah, a lot of times when those other countries won't play ball with the United States, and they punish them. Sort of like kind of what we're seeing now, right? They punish them, but then they have a leader that's like, oh, well, like China is doing with the United States. They're like, okay, whatever, you know. Brother Don says, why should we care? Burkina Faso is a location where they stole my ancestors. Do your ancestry through African ancestry. We are here. We here are, he says, Sahel ancestry. It's West Africa. Yes, it indeed is West Africa. And my roots have also been traced back to West Africa. So yes, Diane says the older cars were made well. You ain't lying. Because from what I understand, they're still driving around. And my brother Walter, a couple of years back to Cuba, and he said, yeah, they're still driving those cars. So, you know, just keep fixing them. Sunlight says, facts. I'm trying to get to Havana, Cuba. Yeah, same here. I've heard a lot of nice things about it. Our Negro says, Jamaica says, if they touch him, they're going over there. Yeah, so a lot of people like, we're not playing. Y'all, and another thing is, who do you think you are? The West. Who do you think you are that you could do that to people and just, you know, get away with it? Again, we've seen them do that over here. You know, infiltrate all the organizations and try to take them down. And it's just the playbook, you know, not wanting Black people to be independent. On one hand, they talk about segregation, but it's like, y'all be all up in our mix. Y'all won't let us alone. Y'all won't stay away from us. Why? Because even here in, you know, Black America, we're very resourceful. We know that they can't even make mac and cheese without getting it from us, right? And there's been obviously a lot of inventions that taken place over here in America that they have colonized and taken it for their own, you know, but they don't want to leave us alone. But they always want to have their own, right? They want to segregate from us, but they want what we have. So it's just, but we're not going to put up with it. Facts Not Feeling says Burkina Faso is the fastest growing economy in Africa, and the U.S. wants to destroy them. There you go. It is growing rapidly, and it sounds like they paid back, from what I understand, don't quote me, paid back the debt that they owed to France, and they refused a lot of money from outside sources. Now, it sounds like they are working with China and Russia, from what I understand, but of course, that's nothing new. There's a lot of countries in Africa that work with China in Russia. So, Carrie, how you doing? Facts Not Feelings says Traoré net worth is about 143,000. So yeah, he's enriching himself. He's eating greedy. You know, that, of course, that's the narrative that they're trying to spin, that he's enriching himself. It's like, no, that's what they do over here. You know, our Negro says after Booker did that nothing burger for 25 hours, says protest, his net worth went up 9 million. I wouldn't doubt it. And, you know, he's extremely friends with Israel. Let's put it that way without saying too much, right? Diane says, I'm done with our politicians here completely. Yeah, our politicians are politicians, right? They're too busy trying to bring immigrants back over here. They ain't said a peep about Black people, Black Americans. They trying to get immigrants back over here. It's crazy, you know? Lady Wright Moore, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see, real people. He says, all the top politicians are rich. Yeah, and they didn't go in rich, but now they worried about what other people doing. Freddie B, how you doing? I like my raccoon. Nubian Cutie, how you doing? Says, I support Captain Traorè. Absolutely. AB Promotions, what's going on with you? Multifaceted me says, last night I saw where Captain Traorè cut a deal with Russia for nukes. Better be careful with that one too. Yeah, I get it. But having nuclear weapons is not unusual, but you need to protect yourself, right? See, that's kind of what happened with Ukraine. They trusted Russia, Britain, and the United States. They told, during the Clinton administration, told Ukraine, hey, get rid of your nuclear weapons and we'll protect you. Yes, we will. And here we are. So yeah, you kind of need those, right? If everybody got some, then people probably gonna tread lightly, right? They probably ain't gonna mess with you too much if they know you got some nukes on hand. I don't know. Don't quote me. Negro says, why did they? Yeah, you said it. I didn't. Gaddafi under Obama, was that his idea? Yeah, I mean, why would they? Y'all can see the comment. I'm not gonna repeat it on here, but I don't know whose idea it was. But why do you need to do something like that? You take somebody out there, you take them, we'll say it like that. Take their manhood with a bayonet. Sick. Y'all heard Hillary. We came, we saw, he died. Nah, tell the whole story, man. Tell all that you did to him. Tell how savage y'all are. That y'all would think that's how you should remove somebody, if you will, by doing that. And whose idea was that? See, they don't never talk about that, though. Darth Vader, how you doing? Says, surrounded by in power for white supremacy, Africa has the same issues as here with black politicians. Salute to Ibrahim. Absolutely. But we have to wake up, right? Let me skip down because I see I'm a little bit behind. AUPZE23, how you doing? Says, I just pray that Ibrahim stands strong. I do too. He's got a lot of people standing behind him, so I hope so as well. AB Promotion says that raccoon. Yeah, I have him right here. Usually I have him over there and I can't get up, right? But yeah, he's here on hand to work hard for her. What do they eat? When they eat acorns or something? I don't know. Maybe I should figure that out. So he's doing his job. Andre, how you doing? Says, the West and Europe wants America to send in Marines and control the country. The people aren't buying it. Yes. And of course, we've heard EFF's president, Julius Malema, speak out like, we won't put up with it, right? And of course, we know Elon was trying to gin up the mob over there in South Africa or over here to go over there, United States, to do something about, the blacks and what they're doing to the whites. And then Trump was like, well, they could come over here. And they're like, well, we didn't really want that. So yeah, they want the United States. The United States will be spread pretty thin, wouldn't they? Nubian Cutie says he was elected in 2023. So you're talking about Ibrahim Traorè. Yeah, he's an interim president. He's not trying to be, from what I understand. I guess they're just trying to find somebody who they're not going to have to get up out of there again, because that was the second coup that they did. Mars says, we are peaky in the brain, but if we get to the top, everyone would maybe get along and win, outdoing them. Okay. Jacoby, how you doing? Says, white supremacy is so dumb and stupid. They don't even know how to read the room. They must not learn the last time there was an uprising, George Floyd just saying, and LA riots just saying, yeah, but see, the other thing too is we got to stop allowing, the politicians in Washington to talk us down, because that's kind of what they did with George Floyd. They said, don't worry, we got it from here. Y'all see these kente claws we got on, and we got on one knee. So we don't worry, we got it, right? Y'all going back to what y'all was doing, and we're going to go in there and we're going to take care of everything. And, here we are, so we got to stop falling for them saying they're going to do something. Multifaceted me says, yes, my understanding is Ramaphosa helped set Gaddafi up to be killed after he was helping the guy. I don't know. Like I said, y'all, anything's possible, right? Of course, Ramaphosa is the president of South Africa, the ANC. And he's doing the bidding of them folks, right? So maybe this time around, the next time they'll get Julius Malema in there and EFF, and they can really do what they need to do to make sure everything is equitable for everybody. Africa Audi Tech. I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says Robert. It says remember Robert Mugabe. Yes. It says that was Bush Obama's doing. Yep, I do remember him. Brother Don says this is my area. I would love to come on and discuss Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast. I would love to have you on here, but I'm not going to really be on here that long. But maybe Sunday we can continue on with the conversation. I think it probably would be a good idea, and then I'd love to have you come up here then. But in regards to Burkina Faso and the Ivory Coast, I understand Ivory Coast is trying to be complicit in ousting that of Ibrahim Traorè, if I'm not mistaken. Lady Wrightmore says, we're like an overflowing tub. They got to keep plunging. AUP says, why can't the other African leaders take from Ibrahim's playbook and support him? Where it sounds like Mali and Niger, they're trying to do the same thing. They're drawing inspiration and kicking out the West and things like that. And obviously that is the fear, right? That other countries rather on the continent are going to do the same and get rid of the West altogether. And the other thing too, see with Trump in the United States, with USAID, when Doge and Elon got rid of that, and they got rid of a lot of the aid for the African countries. A lot of them, they were like, well, we don't really need it. South Africa said it, well, keep your money. We're good. We'll figure it out, right? So that's kind of the other good thing Africa's learning. Yeah, we've kind of maybe been a little too dependent on the West. So Trump coming in and snatching that money is just waking them up, just like it's waking us up over here, whether a lot of people realize it or not. All right, so let's see. Negro says, this is our signal to unify. Ibrahim shouted out Kendrick Lamar. Really? I'm interested in knowing what he said. Facts Not Feeling says, under French colonials, Burkina Faso had 5,000 miles of paved road. Under Ibrahim Traorè, there's about 5,000 miles of paved roads projected to be built per year. Development there is moving at a breaking speed. Yes, absolutely. From what I heard. Yeah, real people, I would entertain a dual citizenship. Absolutely. All right, let me skip down. Diane says they don't want our Black excellence to shine. It's my plan to go back. Yeah, a lot of people said that they want to go back. Carrie says if I move to Africa, the majority of Africa must want me over there because I ain't got time for no jump. What does that mean? Buckhorse, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. He says, I prayed to the living God for you 2 nights ago. Also, I have your Cash App. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. You prayed for me. You know what? I love and appreciate you. Prayers are awesome. You must felt like you needed to, and whatever it is, I received that. So thank you. Oliver, how you doing? He says, the problem is the puppet government sharecropping on their own land for the white man. That needs to stop. They need to stop the puppets. Okay, that needs to stop the puppets is what you're saying. Miss Sweet says, that may be the reason we haven't received reparations yet. We are going to run after payments. Who will America have to oppress? Right. Especially if we unify, right? We got the money to unify and do what we need to do. We do want our reparations though, right? But I believe we'll get it a lot faster when we unify. Internationally, no. Did I say hello to you? Not hello. He says, I'm still driving mine. Okay. Brother Raven, how you doing? He says the reason one of us can infiltrate our groups and get away with it is because they face no consequences. If a Black infiltrator knew deletion was the end result, once caught, they would think twice about infiltration. I'm going to say I agree with you. I'm going to leave it at that because I ain't going to say too much, but I get where you're going with that. Lady Wrightmore says, touch me and see what happens, okay? Nubian Cutie, it says, they can't even bathe right. You better stop. But they did say, we don't, y'all wash your legs? Y'all use washcloths? Doesn't everybody? I don't know. I thought. Maybe not. Okay, let's see. Michelle, how you doing? Says praying for Allah's protection over brother Ibrahim Traorè. Yeah, and it sounds like also the majority of the country is Muslim. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Who else is on here? I'm gonna skip down. Brother Don says he snubbed Trump's inauguration invitation. This is personal retaliation. Yeah, you gonna have me over there to do what? What I need to come over there for? I don't need to be at your inauguration. I got stuff to do here. You ain't all that. That's pretty much what Ibrahim was saying. You ain't all that. You don't get to summons me. If I want to come over there, I will, but you don't summons me. I don't need to be there. Thank you. Congratulations, whatever. I got stuff to do, right? So yeah, I think that part of that is what he said. What? He said no. Oh, okay. So yeah. Dart Raider says, salute to independent Black media. Yes, indeed. And speaking of which, if y'all want to go over to AfricanDiasporaNews.org, AfricanDiasporaNews.org, we have an app over there that was made just for you, where you can get it raw and uncut, and we ain't got the bite on our tongue over there like we do over here, right? Amos, how you doing? Says the people that have murdered Brother Malcolm and Dr. King are the same ones that have murdered Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, and others. Absolutely. Totally agree with you. That's why I say there's so many, too many to count, right? Buckhorse says we are the direct children of the Hebrew Israelite God. Okay. Hey, Brother Critical, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Michelle says we can't be more concerned about others having nukes when the U.S. is the only ones who use them. You know what I'm saying? Why shouldn't Burkina Faso have some? Everybody else, well, not everybody else, but a lot of other countries have them. How are you going to be a superpower if you can't protect yourself? You know, I've heard it said, and I've heard Donovan say, it's usually said, an armed society is a polite society, which means if, you know, for the most part, people are able to protect themselves, they tend to act better. You know what I mean? Daryl, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says those Russian commandos, Cuban, and Venezuelan intelligence officers deserve a big thank you for protecting him. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are invested in making sure he survives. Brother Rodney, how you doing? Says my old congressman was John Lewis, who did nothing. The new lady is trying to be Housewives of Atlanta. Don't trust her. Her website, just AKA, and showing white LGBTQ ABC rallies. Wow. So, yeah, she needs to be one term. No more for her, right? Because you trying to be a Housewives of Atlanta? Wow, it's like we can't catch a break, huh? Facts I Feel It says it's vital for Black nations like Burkina Faso to also acquire nuclear technology. Absolutely. Thank you, Diane. Love and appreciate you for that. The compliment on my hair. Thank you. Thank you. Ernest, you say, if they kill Traorè, it's going to set the continent on fire. And we all know fire spreads. I support Traorè, and the people are on the continent. Absolutely. They know. It's kind of like too late. And I know that so-called brother, the general's probably like, oh, y'all ain't tell me this was all going to happen like this. Y'all just told me to get on the script and say, yeah, I'm not afraid to name them. Yeah, I didn't know all that was going to be happening. Now you see, they underestimated Black unity. Ivanhoe, how you doing? He says, now we're going to show those puppets who are the real revolutionaries. Captain Ibrahim Traorè and the people of Burkina Faso, one Black love, rather. Absolutely. Jacoby says, so the backstory, Obama didn't want to remove Gaddafi. It was Hillary's idea. If she kept pestering him over and over to the point where he gave in like a sissy. Now, I heard that story as well, but wasn't he the president? You know, did she usurp him? But yeah, that's why you often hear Farrakhan call her a very evil woman, right? Very bloodthirsty. Absolutely. Rodney says, love her. He says, the raccoon, is that what it's saying? Ivory Coast leader is a traitor. He says, of the young, powerful leader. Yeah, they, you know, of course, they doing the bidding of white supremacy. Massa. Yeah, I do it. You know. Oh, raccoons eat butter biscuits. Got you. Brother Don says, we are seeing what we're seeing with the immigrants was a Simpsons episode. The Springfield fell apart without them, and the mayor was trying to get them to come back. Got you. I've seen some episodes of the Simpsons, not all of them, but some. Hey, Catherine, how you doing? Says we have to point out how Africa and French have surrounded the AES with military bases, and we have to demand diplomacy. Absolutely. AB Promotions, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. He says the internet has been a big thorn in white supremacy. Yes. And we people have been able to organize super fast with the internet, which is why a lot of times you hear them in Congress saying, internet bad. We got to get rid of it, right? It's like, why? And y'all be using it too. So why would you want to get rid of it? Because people are starting to organize. And thank you, Ms. Sweets, for asking everybody to hit the like button. I appreciate you for that. Range Road, how you doing? You said someone said if Kamala was president, she wouldn't come after Ibrahim Traorè. That's BS because Obama Black killed Gaddafi. So what makes people think a fake Indian would help Ibrahim? No, I totally agree with you. She wasn't any better. You know, she wasn't any better at all. And she was the vice president to Biden. And Biden was a vice president to who? Obama. Wasn't he sitting in the situation room when it all went down? Now go back to her interview on The View where she says, when Sonny Hostin asked her, well, how would your presidency be different than Biden? She goes, well, I can't think of anything. There you go. Yeah, they had the kente cloth AB promotion. Y'all saw them, they kneeled all down. Laughable at best. So I'm gonna skip down because I see I'm very behind. He's real light. How you doing? He says, Jacob, have I loved, but Esau have I hated. This is the reason they hate us. It's written. Got you. Okay, let's see who else is on here. Ty Deshaun, how you doing? Says Burkina Faso has good exchange rate to the dollar. Okay. Miss Sweet says, yes, we wash our legs and use washcloths with body wash. Right. And I don't know if y'all like me, but I taking a shower is probably one of the longest events that I have every day. I try to shorten it, but it just doesn't work. You know, any and everybody that vacations with me has ever lived with me, they're like, yeah, let her go first because she's going to be in there a minute. Or y'all better go first or she's going to be in there, or they make me go extra early. I'm working on it. Ernest says, if they kill Traorè, that will set the continent on fire. And we know how, yes, so, okay, repeated the comment. Absolutely. Nyla, how you doing? Let's see. Who else is on here? So Range Rover says Burkina Faso is 60% Muslim, 40% Christian, but they have their skin color before, he says that BS. He says Nigeria, on the other hand, laugh out loud, that region stuff gets physical. Or I'm sorry, religion stuff rather gets physical. Yikes. Let's see. I Negroes says this is why we need African military to support us here. America will stop messing with us potentially. All right. Who else came on here? Oh, okay. I'm at the bottom. Okay, so I could go here. Real People says don't forget Namibia quietly making history as well. Yes, a lot of countries on the continent are making history. They're like, yeah, no more. We're good. Thank you. You know, and it's about time that they've kicked the colonizers out. Range Rover says they don't have the numbers to challenge Traorè yet. Got you. His real light, he says, even though they say they are helping Russia and China are still the ops. Of course. But, you know, it's like who's going to be less adversary. Of course, we know that China and Russia, it's with them. What's in it for me? They wouldn't be over there for free. It's what's in it for me. You know, again, whoever controls Africa controls the world. So, of course, those other nations are trying to plant a stronghold there. But for what I understand, it's like if you are actually helping while taking, that's a little different than you going and planting your flag and saying we're just taking, destabilizing the region, displacing people. We see all these different wars and stuff going on, but we're not doing anything to help it stop. But in the meantime, we're extracting all the minerals and enriching ourselves. So that doesn't sound like they're doing totally that. Sounds like they're also saying, okay, quid pro quo, right? Give to get. So let's see. Range Rover says I have two cousins serving in the army, one in Nigeria, another in Chad, which is next to Nigeria and Mali. Chad is basically the fourth AES member already. Okay. Negro says Russia and China didn't participate in transatlantic slave trade. Correct. Raven says, talk about eating greedy. The dingbat Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is worth $41 million. How is she worth $41 million? Damn. That's crazy. Range Rover says AES currently surrounded with strong points being in Algeria, Mauritania, and Ivory Coast. It says Morocco has aligned with AES. AA Morocco has beef with Algeria. Okay, you teaching me something. Like I said, I'm learning a lot about the continent. Israelite says, without Africa, the West crumbles. Facts. That is a fact, right? So now you got more countries waking up, and it's just it's a snowballing out of control for them. So they're gonna have to eat on their own, right? Get it out the mud on your own. Stop getting on the backs of Black people all over the world and exploiting Black people for everything they got so you can be enriched. You would think if the French were smart, they would say, okay, we're going to make sure you guys are good while we're good as well, but they haven't done that. Let's see here. Darryl says Biden administration tried to assassinate multiple times also. There you go. Thank you, Ms. Sweets. I appreciate you for that. I try to bring some things that are current. Again, I'm learning along with you guys. I've been paying attention. Obviously, if you go to the African Diaspora News Channel, there's countless contributors from the continent that's covering this from all kind of angles of different things that we don't know about. So yeah, if y'all want to go over there and really tap in to really learn of what's going on, that's where you're going to find a wealth of information in regards to this subject. Range Road, you say, I hate Nigeria president. He says because he has kind of refrained from the intervening in the air. AES, the reason you've seen the West threatening to expose Nigeria president the last month is to get him on board to invade. Got you. Our Negro says Traorè said he's not afraid to die. That's what a leader is. A leader is like, if you take my life, you're going to take my life while I'm serving the people. You can't be afraid to die if you're a leader, right? The good thing about a leader is, though, you train others to lead if that happens to you, right? You don't just hold on to the power like they do over here and not train other leaders. You train other people to continue on if something does happen to you. Range Rover says that Nigeria is the West key to having the numbers to challenge AES. No, Nigeria equals a risky battle. It says the AES countries are the most battle-tested military on the continent. South Africa and Egypt, most advanced. Absolutely. Brother Don says they are not taking, they have structured, transparent mining agreement. There you go. So it's a give and take, right? It's not we're just going to come over there and stake our claim and take. So that there you have it. And that's how it's supposed to be, right? Buckhorse says, what's her Cash App, y'all? I don't remember. Oh, well, the Cash App is on the bottom here. See the crawler? It's $ Demetra K, $ Demetra K. And there's other ways to donate if you guys see fit to do that. I'd love and appreciate you if you did, as it does take some cost to run the show. But it's there on the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's see here. Raven says, Demetra, you know them folks can steal the shine off of Kojak's head. You ain't lying. Buckhorse says the Israelites are here. Shalom, family. Thank God. And thank you, Ms. Sweets, for sharing that. Appreciate you for that. Brother Don says, off topic, have you seen Trump's new executive crime order? I've heard about it. I haven't delved into it myself, but I've seen people talk about it, and it sounds like he's saying that police or law enforcement have basically free will. I'm paraphrasing. He's basically making them judge, jury, and executioner, which they already are, right? But he's saying that they won't be held responsible for doing that, you know? So I don't know how true it is because, like I said, I haven't looked into it myself. But let's say it is true. Black Americans, you've got work to do. It's time to organize. It's really time to get on the war horse and organize. We are out of time. And a lot of people say, oh, well, if we would have had Biden sat on his hands with regards to protecting Black people as well. You know, he didn't make any legislation to protect Black Americans. In fact, he gave more money to law enforcement. Obama did as well. So don't get fooled. No, I'm not saying you, Brother Don, but don't get fooled with thinking, oh, you know, Trump's going to do this, that, and the other. The Democrats left Black Americans unprotected as well. See, a lot of this had to happen because Black people now we're realizing we all we got. We need to unify, stop all this foolishness that we got going on. We could take cues from Africa and get together and say, okay, this is what the plan is. This is what they're planning. And we know that police brutality predominantly affects Black Americans, right? So some are saying this is going to be harmful to us. Well, harmful to us opposed to what? It's not like things were better. It's not like we were unharmed. And I'm not saying we should be, but it's not like we were unharmed. Kamala wasn't going to protect Black people from the police. She wasn't. So, but we got work to do. Our Negro says, if Traorè falls, rather, thousands shall rise. There you go. And that's how you should do it. Daryl says, does your program take e-transfer? What's e-transfer? What form are you talking about? I don't know if you want to be specific. D-Mode, how you doing? Says the evil West is 100% evil against Black people worldwide. Absolutely. Real People says, obviously, the Atlantic slave trade was a direct impact on us, but they were trading Africans long, long before. Absolutely. That's how a lot of us got here. That's how my ancestors got here, through the slave trade, you know? So I know right now, you know, there's a lot of kind of back and forth between Black Americans and Africans on the continent, but we got to knock that off. on both sides. I don't get involved in it at all. I don't get involved in it, as I choose not to do that for a whole host of reasons. But I see it every day, and I just shake my head. Israelite says there's minerals that only the African land was blessed with. Yeah, right. So they're trying to get over there so they can get a stronghold. And unfortunately, they do elect leaders over there that will do the bidding of the colonizers because they'll be enriched, you know. But it's the same thing over here. How you got Congress people that are in office 20, 30, 40 years, and they enrich themselves while their district or whatever looks crazy. No improvements or nothing, but they enrich themselves. So when you hear General Langley talking about, I don't mind saying it, Ibrahim Traorè is one of them. He taking something. How you know he taking something on the side? When you sitting there in Washington with people who taking something on the side, you bald head sucker. When I saw that, it made me mad because it's like I just can't wait. It's showtime. Look, it's showtime. You couldn't wait to have the spotlight shined on you. So I tell you, I don't mind saying it. Again, also with the war, if you want to call it that, in Gaza, who did they use to represent the United States of America? It was a Black woman. She would say no on voting to, for some sort of a resolution between Israel and Gaza. She would be the holdout vote. No, we're just looking forward to a better solution before the United States can, really vote on this. They used a Black woman to do that. So they're going to use us. Let's see here. I am me. How you doing? It says France has 14 African countries forced to use the France franc phone money, sending billions every year. Yeah, that has to stop. Why should France be enriched off of the backs of Black people in Africa? Why should they be enriched? Y'all, I'm sweating. It's warm. It's a hot flash, probably. Negro says, where is our protection from them? They commit crimes too. Absolutely. Brother Don says it's basically martial law without saying it or congressional approval. Yeah, it's already that against Black people. Let's not freak out now. They've been that since they was the patty rollers in slavery. It's been martial law against Black people. But see, the problem is we've been so in love with white supremacy. It's not us, them. So in love with white folks. We can't separate. Oh, we got to segregate. Oh, this, that, and the other. Now we see why. Let's get our own stuff up and running. The more we're away from them, and I'm not saying they all bad, don't mistake me. I'm not saying that. But as they said, and as my dad has said, as the nation has said, everywhere they have gone, they have caused destruction to every people they have touched. And more so here in America, the Black people, even in 2025. So this is nothing new. If they're going to unleash martial law, they've already done that. But we've become that frog in the boiling pot of water. Y'all know the analogy? At first, the frog's in the water. The water's cold. It's backstroking. It's like, yeah, this feels good. It's nice and cool. Woo-hoo! Then they turn up the stove because, see, the frog don't realize he's actually on the stove. They turn it up a little bit. And he's like me, like, whoo, man. It's getting warm up in here, but I'll adjust. I'm cool. It's backstroking. Turn that water up a little bit more, and it's like, yikes. It's getting warm. But you know what? I'll adjust. Now the backstroke slowing down a little bit because it's getting kind of hot. Then pretty soon the frog boils to death because it should have stopped backstroking and leaned over the pot and was like, oh, it's a fire. I'm going to get out. See, we're becoming that frog in that boiling pot of water as Black Americans. We keep seeing the heat get turned up. We won't do nothing about it. We adjust. We need to stop adjusting. And we need to start rearranging in other ways and saying, hey, we got to do other things. We got to get out this pot. So let's not freak out. There's always been martial law against Black people here in America. So, Ahmed, he says, what's your point? What's your mission? And do tell, what do you mean exactly by that? Because that is a loaded question. Radio, how you doing? Says 100%, we are definitely out of time. We need to unify and do nothing. And the do nothing Democrats won't help Black people. No, we should be done with the Democrats. Completely done. Right now, as I said, and y'all know, They over in Venezuela trying to get migrants out and bring them back. But they ain't visiting their prison to try to get none of these black people out that's been in there falsely accused of things they didn't do, like the Black Panthers, Black Liberation Army members. There's a lot of them still in there and they being falsely accused, and they ain't trying to go knock down the prison doors to get them out. So, I don't know. Nyla says an African leader was telling the Africans to support Traoré in China because they are standing up to the U.S. Shaking my head, the hypocrisy. China is, it says, analogous to the United States. Shaking my head. And if you don't mind me asking you to expound upon that, I'm going to get out of here actually in a couple of minutes. So hopefully I'll get to your comment range. He says the Ivory Coast puppet president is actually from Burkina Faso himself. Him and Guinea, I'd probably jack that up, president, are big time puppet. He says French lent them some white wives who are really overseers. Interesting. I'm learning a lot. Diane says we need to educate ourselves on both sides. Absolutely. Stay abreast. Negro says it's time to unite. Ibrahim is showing us that. I totally agree with you. Raven says Traoré attacked and Black Americans attacked by law enforcement unjustly would open up a hell unknown to humans. Yeah, because we're not gonna just sit back and let you do it, right? So I agree. Daryl says Traoré gave up his military salary. That's unheard of. There you go. All right, so let me skip down because I gotta get out of here. Y'all hear my voice. Black Rose, how you doing? Says hope Africa stands up with their president against the West. Most Black people except FBA should go to the EU for reparations, not the UN. Absolutely. Daryl says France does not have a single gold mine inside of France, but I think France has the third, fourth largest gold reserve. That is crazy. You know what I mean? Enough is enough. Real people. It says too many of us got way too comfortable. We okay with being stolen now. And you're right. We should never be okay with that. Israelite says when they took the irons off of us, we was a broken people. Yeah, now the irons are here. They're here. So it ain't time to tuck tail and run and get scared. It's time for us to mount up and organize. We are long out of time, right? Come on, Sunlight. Segregation now and forever, because that's what they said. Who was it? It's Robert Byrd, Strom Thurmond, one of those. I almost said a word I shouldn't say on here. That's what they said, right? Segregation now, today, and forever. Well, ditto. So yeah, absolutely, Miss Sweet. Stockholm syndrome at its finest. Yep. Let's see here. Carrie says they have a problem that their laws are not for us. So they have proven that their laws are not for us. So why they have proven that their laws are not for us? What? So you just kind of repeated it. Okay. Negro says Traoré joining BRICS too. Woo! That's really going to ramp it up, right? United States like, now we can't have that. Nyla says Trump segregation is on the primitive micro capacity. He will not segregate, says the NFL, NBA, right? Black entertainment concerts. No, I ain't going to segregate that because that's where the money is. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, they highly paid slaves. They still need to get out there and entertain, as they say, for sport and play, right? They pay them a lot of money, but they don't want to segregate that because watching their own people run up and down the court and the field is kind of boring, you know. Sunlight says, Demetra, you think we get more support if we start identifying as illegal aliens? We might. Shan, how you doing? He says Jaheim Crow era. What you talking about? Willis. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Nyla says the abuse and racism in Africa from the Chinese people on all capacity. Yes, there's a lot of abuse from the Chinese people, but from what I've seen, the Africans don't be putting up with that. Those the Chinese get dealt with when they're caught, from what I understand. Now, I'm sure it's not totally 100% caught and dealt with, but I've seen a copious amount of evidence saying that they don't put up with all of that like that. So yeah. Yashawn, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says no, he gave up his president's salary. So Ibrahim Traorè gave up his presidential salary. Got you. Someone's child. How you doing? George Wallace, thank you. You know, they all the same, right? They all have the same rhetoric. Biden, those were his mentors, and he just loved them so, right? So yes, thank you for the correction. Someone child says FBA's demand reparations. Come on now. He says he has actually united the mind of the young. Then that's the problem. United the minds of the young African youth. We just need to get the youth here to wake up. I think the youth they're waking up. Farrakhan talks about that a lot. The youth. I saw a video where Cory Booker was speaking to AIPAC, I guess it was, and they were asking him, do you think the Black youth would support Israel? And he's like, yes, of course they would. They don't even support you, homie. How you speaking for the Black youth, Brother Samuel, how you doing? Hope you're doing well this fine afternoon. Michelle, he says Trump is showing his true colors this time around. He's always showed his true colors. Orange. I'm just kidding. Trump is who he is. Trump is who he is. At the end of the day, I really believe Trump is still really just the ultimate salesman. He's trying to enrich himself, and he'll throw red meat to the racists. Not saying that he's not one. He'll throw red meat to them at the behest of everybody. And listen, this ain't just affecting us. It's affecting people who look like his palm. It's affecting them too. It's not just geared toward Black people. It's geared more so toward his people because they have gate kept everything from us to the point of now it's like, oh, now you're losing it. So we can't really miss what we never had, if that makes any sense. But I get where you're going. No worries, Buckhorse. No worries. Enuma, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Raven says Black Americans don't need segregation where they would have access to our loot. And what do you mean by that? Negro says instead of Jim Crow, Jaheim Crow segregation on our terms. Oh yeah, I can dig it. We better together. Michelle says, did you all see that Ukraine lady who called that Black kid? Yes, the N-word. They raised, oh yes, I saw that, over $300,000 for her. White folks are really showing what's in their heart toward us. Yeah, they were on the playground and she called the little Black kid who has autism, for I understand, the N-word a bunch of times. She was recorded doing it. And so she says she needs money to help relocate because people are threatening her for what she's saying. So yeah, her folks, they raised, I guess right now over $300,000 for her. And she blatantly called that little Black boy, I guess it was a boy, I don't know, the N-word. So they don't want you to raise money for your people, but they're cool with, a white lady calling the Black kid the N-word. They're going to help her out. So but that's no secret to us. We know what we're dealing with. So, now it's the conversation. And thank you, Trump. Thank you, Trump, for starting that conversation off for us again, the segregation conversation. Thank you for kicking it off, because now we understand why it's much needed, So there you have it. Diane says the puppet leaders are the problem. Yep. Yeah, Nyla, you orange. Buckhorse says, I'm just getting on the dock of the bay, wasted time. I'll be sitting while the evening comes. Okay, oldest red. Pam, it's jamming. How you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. He says Trump said that he knows his people. We know his people too. They are racist toward Black people. Yeah, racist toward Black people. But Trump must be racist toward his people too. Because I listen to NPR all the time in the car, and I hear them calling up, me and my husband lost our jobs, and we don't know what we're going to do. We don't have health care. We don't have anything. We don't. So he racist against his people too, right? So it's interesting times. But and I want to say good part of that as I'm gloating, but the good part of that is now they see a little bit how we feel to be in struggle mode due to systemic and institutional racism. What Trump is doing to them is systemic. You're fired. He treating it like The Apprentice. You're fired. So now they understand what it feels like now to have to figure out how you going to make ends meet. They ain't really experienced that, but they're experiencing that now. So, yeah, Trump is racist toward Black people, but look what he's doing to his own people. I think what it says deport. Yeah, deport. They ain't gonna deport that lady. The Ukrainians, a lot of them were brought over here under the Biden administration. But yeah, she's rich now, or on her way to it. Pam says Trump knows his people are dumb. You said it, I didn't. Buckhorse, you say he helped my people. Brother Samuel says the youth are put to sleep by the public food system, like they have been by the Democratic Party. Says we establish our own schools based on African principles it is then when we will wake up. Trump could seemingly be helping by dismantling the Department of Education. Absolutely. I know a lot of teachers. They said it wasn't helping. Brother Sam, you're a teacher. You could attest to that. It wasn't helping. But yeah, it's long overdue that we educate our own people. Stop using the, as you said, the public school system to educate our children. That's something we should be doing. We should have been doing that a long time ago. So absolutely. And of course, the Nation of Islam, y'all do that. You educate your own babies. You don't leave it to the white school system to educate your children. So absolutely. Enuma says Trump is speeding up the judgment on America from the Most High. Good work, Trump. There you go. Raven says they want segregation in certain situations, but integration in other avenues of life affairs in regards to race. Oh, yeah. You better believe it. Radio says when the Democrat Party is in power, the Black community suffers. When the Republicans are in office, everybody gets to smoke. You ain't lying. Everybody gets it right. I mean, they doing all kind of crazy stuff. It's you can't even keep up with the stuff that they're trying to do. But maybe people will take the state and local elections a little bit more seriously now, right? You would think. But of course, you say it's the mafia. Real People says we need to use and build on this collective consciousness and not let it just be a passing fad. I totally agree with you. Michelle says Trump does not care about no one but himself and his billionaire friends. He is the face of a true narcissist. I saw a video of him saying he wants to be respected like Kim Jong-il. Yes, he does. And he wants the military to salute him and all that. It's like, man, if you don't sit your tan self down somewhere. Nyla says, how can we convey Sharpton and Jamal Bryant are not our leaders? Just what you said, they're not our leaders. They think they are, but they're not. Says targeted to talk to these two individuals after losing billions. Well, we don't have to adhere to them. I don't listen to Jamal or Al Sharpton at all. They are puppets, and they're doing the bidding of white supremacy. They're not our leaders. You know, some people may want them to be leaders, but they don't lead us. Leading somebody means you've actually taken them somewhere. You've taken them from point A to point B, and gotten good results, right? We haven't gotten that with them. They're both reverends, and they enrich themselves by pretending to help Black people, but they are only helping themselves. So absolutely. Yes, Pam, God is in full control. You cannot out-legislate the will of God. Hey, Sister Shirley, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Fresh air, what's going on with you? Says Russia and North Korea is building a road. Yeah. So they're getting in there and they're helping. Of course, they're getting something out of it, but they're helping at least, right? So anyway, here's where like it says South Africa, Canada, rather, U.S., Australia, Brazil, New Zealand have something in common. Can anyone guess what it is? That could be anything. I don't want to guess, but if you want to tell me before I leave, Negro says we can lead ourselves. We don't need a leader. There you go. Numa says, have you seen why Trump has beef with Harvard? Allegedly, his son was rejected. I know it was personal. See, Don Lemon. That's what they're saying. I don't know how true it is, but Don Lemon is saying it. If he's saying it, then maybe it's true. Don Lemon, I don't think he'd be out there. Well, yeah, I don't know. I heard that's why it could be personal, but Harvard is like, no, we're not bending the knee to you. Do what you must, but we're not going to bend the knee to you. Mescray says, and how you doing, by the way? It says, well, what if we all became leaders? That way they won't know who to go after. Well, we can all be leaders. You know, we can all lead our own self. And that way the community would just automatically be led, right? And lead to do good things, you know? Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, rest my voice for Sunday Scoop. How you doing? It says, we need to vet our representation way more than we do if they ain't talking reparations in the form of cash payments. Yeah, and then we just, you know, find other things to do, right? So anyway, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank y'all for joining me on today to have this very important conversation. Of course, more things are going to be unfolding. We're going to pay attention to that. And of course, we are always staying tuned to what's going over here in America in regards to Black Americans, because we really need to unify, stop all the foolishness, and do what we need to do. Aaron, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sister Shirley says we need to start buying some essentials before the prices start to rise. Yes, and we could have talked about the tariffs too. Yeah, store your food and water. Get all your essentials, because that stuff is going to start to leave the shelves, and the stuff that they do get, if they get it, is going to be super expensive, right? If you know, you know. They said that a lot of the containers cannot offload. Sounds like they don't really have as many as they used to because a lot of them come from China. A lot of truck drivers are losing work because they don't really have, it sounds like it's dying down. They don't have a lot of things to haul. I talk to people in warehouses where they say, yeah, they're getting their hours cut because there's no shipments coming in, right? So please stay vigilant and do all that you can to make sure that you're good in these very turbulent times that are here and that are to come, because it's going to get very rocky. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Be back here Sunday with Donovan to have more of an insightful conversation with y'all. In the meantime, you guys stay blessed. There's ways to help the channel if you see fit. At the very least, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Peace.